No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Something is about to break.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the About to Break podcast. I'm your host Taylor Hughes, and this is it. This is the show. This is the one where we don't just talk about, the things that happen at the grocery store. We talk about that. We do. We like those conversations. We talk about the ups and downs of life in the entertainment business, and each week, if you're just joining us, we talk to artists and entertainers who are just trying to break into doing what they love before the industry breaks them. And I'm telling you, I just came back from a great trip. We recorded a ton of episodes. I'm excited to share them with you, and this episode today you're gonna love. Before we get into it, I gotta take a moment and pause and just breathe. I am in my world shed quarters here at home in glorious Upland, California, and it's been about 2 months. The family was on the road with me for a long time. We went to Branson, Missouri. We drove out there, then we came home, and I went to Nashville. And this has been like the first time in 2 months I've been able to spend some time in the home office, and I love it. What kind of space do you have as an artist? We got to create a space where you can create, and you can wonder, and you can remember why you got involved in this thing in the first place. I'm reminded of how grateful I am for this little space we made. We didn't have much, we don't have a big backyard. We're in California. Everything out here is expensive. I couldn't afford to go rent an office monthly. And so we got a tough shed, like you see at Home Depot. We got one of those. We got the cheap version from Costco, which meant it came in like 2 cardboard boxes and had 1 million pieces to it. And we built it. It's glorious. I love it. It's like this little oasis of a room, 10 feet out the back door of my house. And I love it here. I don't want to leave. But alas, I am leaving tomorrow. But I also do want to take a minute and mention these shows. I've got some live shows. If you're available and in these cities, I will be in these cities. September 12th through 14th, I'll be at the Chief Theater in Steamboat, Colorado with John Armstrong and Sean Preston. And that's going to be fun. It's like a series of shows where we're each doing our own show, and then we're doing like a kind of a, I guess you'd call it like a gala show together. That's going to be fun. September 19th through the 24th, I'll be back in Lake Tahoe at one of my favorite places, The Loft. So come check that out. October 14th to 20th, I'm back in the Parlor at the Magic Castle. And then November 1st through 3rd, I'll be in Santa Monica at Magicopolis. So I'm looking forward to that. I want to take a moment too and thank all of the producers of this podcast. Thank you for your ongoing support. I just this morning was able to order some new equipment that we needed. Some stuff was wearing out after all these conversations, and looking forward to adding some new elements over onto the Patreon page. But I want to say thank you and welcome to our newest producers. I want to say thank you to Matt Roberts, to Conrad Cologne, and to Stephanie Minivel. Thank you so much, and thank you to everyone for your ongoing continued support of this show. Your regular support makes this all possible. If you want to check it out, go over to patreon.com/about to break. That's patreon.com/about to break. And for like $1 or more, you can help us offset the cost of producing these conversations. Well, as I mentioned, I just got back from Nashville, Tennessee. I was spending a week at House of Cards there, which is a fantastic space. I want to say a huge thank you to Joey and to Bill, the owner, and Blake and the whole team who make this place what it is. So what's great is you come, you have a very nice meal. It's a fine dining meal. And then they've got close-up magicians stationed in little alcoves, and the entire place is decorated with original prints of posters from some of the greatest magicians in history. If you look on my Instagram page, I just posted a picture, giddy as a little boy, because Bill, the owner, not only took the time to track down and pay to have Carter's table at the venue, but he didn't hide it behind glass. He set it on the stage and told the magicians to use it. And I had a silly idea, and when I asked, I asked Blake, would it be possible if, I could put on those Houdini handcuffs that are one of a kind and take a picture at Carter's table? And Bill was like, well, yeah, of course, go for it. If you're in Nashville or you're going to Nashville, plan a visit to House of Cards. It's absolutely fantastic. You'll have a great time. And while I was there, I sat down with my buddy Joey Martinez. Magicians who are listening to this, members of the castle, you know Joey, you love Joey. For so long, when you showed up at the castle, he was the first face you saw. He was the one who was making sure that people were respecting the club, treating magic with the respect that it doesn't always get. And so we sit down and talk about that. Joey's now at House of Cards, and he's really doing a great job there and keeping this tradition of magic alive. You're going to love it. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode, my conversation with the incredible Joey Martinez. This is Joey Martinez, everybody.
Hey guys, how are you?
Man, thanks for doing this.
Man, thank you for having me.
Now, I'm going to have just given an intro of who you are, but what's great is so many people who listen to this program already know you and love you because for years you were at the Magic Castle. You know, it's interesting to think about the role that you played there because as a member and as a performer, there's nothing like rolling up to the castle and seeing you and you saying welcome home that just makes you go like, whatever happened earlier that day doesn't matter. It's all going to be good now.
Yeah, I like that too, man. I miss home, but I got a new home.
You got a new home, man.
Absolutely. I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to move states and still be in the family business, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, I talk to people about magic families all the time and how we all share that same last name, which is magician.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm kind of like the adopted family member.
Well, this is what I love, man, because I'm always talking on this show with artists who are trying to break into the industry. But you know, I joke in my show about how I became a magician by accident. I wanted to do comedy, but my dad said you wouldn't make any money, so I became a magician. But what's amazing is like you got way into magic, but I mean, when did magic first enter your life? You weren't thinking like when you were a kid, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to be super involved in this community.
You know, what's funny is you're right. This wasn't a plan. Like not at all. I was a member of management, salary member of management for retail.
Yeah.
Like that's where I found myself to be successful.
Yeah.
I even got to the point where I said, you know what? I might be able to do my own business.
Yeah.
And I decided to do that. As many of you guys know, I'm a member of a 12-step fellowship. And in doing so, I built some camaraderies. I built some friendships.
Totally.
Where I call them my brothers, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And so a brother needed me.
Yep.
He happened to work at the castle. And I come from, you know, managing these big corporations and having 300 employees and going over compliance and schedules and hiring and firing and going to courts for, you know, unemployment and going to all that to giving that all up, doing my own business. And I found that I was like, man, I want to move out of here. I want to try something. And then I thought about Tennessee.
Yeah.
My in-laws are all here.
Yep.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to be closer to them.
Yeah. And this was back like what?
This is
8, 9, 10 years ago, something
maybe
like that.
7, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And 7 years, I think. And I was sharing about this in a meeting.
Yeah.
And a brother of mine said, hey, man, since you're going to be leaving, he's like, I have a job that I need somebody to do that I trust.
Wow.
It'll only be 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, that's right around moving time. We
Yeah.
had planned if I didn't find anything, if I didn't see a sign
Right.
for me to stick around, we're gone. We're going to take the whole family. We're out of here. And so when he approached me about that, I was like, sure, what do you need me to do? And he was real vague, right? As far as what I needed
You're
to
like,
do.
wait, this sounds like some old school stuff.
Well, for brothers, like, you know, you do what you got to do, you know?
Right, right.
I have a tattoo on my arm that says, for family, we risk it all, right?
Mm.
And so he says, just wear a black shirt, black tie, some slacks. I said, okay, I got that.
Yeah.
So when I show up, I show up to this castle that I knew he worked at. I just didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And so when I show up, I'm like, wait, what is this place? And he said, it's going to take you about 2 weeks to kind of, 3 days to kind of like know what floor you're on. And
Right. Oh, yeah.
okay, so what do you need me to do? And he says, well, I'm going to need you to stay on top of the bathrooms.
Yeah.
Get the glassware picking up. I said, you realize I just ran a multi-million-dollar company and you want me to come and clean a bathroom?
Yeah.
And he says, man, you're the only dude I trust, man. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. You know what I mean? From where I come from, I'm grateful to do that,
Right.
you know? And within the first couple of days, like I was accepted like immediately.
Yeah.
But I noticed how some of the floor managers were getting taken advantage of. And it wasn't just the members, it was the guests. And their authority wasn't there. And so I looked at it two ways.
Yeah.
I said, look, if I assist in this
Yeah.
and I overstep, the worst they can do is fire me.
And you were already ready to go
Yeah.
to Tennessee.
But I had to think about my friend that put his name
That's right.
on the
yeah.
line for me.
Right.
And so I did it in the most polite way. I made two guys disappear that night without their party knowing, without any altercations.
Yeah.
Where in the past, you know, I mean, we might get some feedback.
Right.
I mean, from the guests, and you can't do this to me, and I'm paying money, and you know, that whole spiel. And it caught the attention of the management, and they made me an offer immediately after that, and I jumped on it.
And prior to that, there wasn't really anyone in that kind of role, right? I mean,
Well, they had a gentleman by the name of Omar. Great dude. I got to meet him a couple of times. He was up at Yamashita after that when I got there. And,
yeah.
and so when I was working the front, one of the most common ways that people, I guess, describe me is like, I look mean, I look ugly. And so people, once you get to know me, you know that I'm really not that guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
I embrace people and I love them. I give them that in return. So, me being at the door, I started noticing the things like, you know, we had that one line, right?
Right.
And I started seeing members that were waiting in that line. And I was like, well, what? That doesn't make any sense to me. And so we created the member line.
Yeah.
And in doing so, I went ahead and, you know, greeted members the way I used, you know, how I would make them feel special.
Yeah.
Compared to the guest. Now, we're all going to be special at the castle, but I wanted to make sure that there was a definition between the two, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I remember one night, a gentleman named David Gabay.
Yeah.
God, I love that guy.
David and I grew up in the juniors at the castle.
Oh, man,
Known that guy
he's great.
forever.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
But there was a heckler
Yeah.
that happened to be heckling, and I went in there and I took him out and made him disappear. And later on that evening, we talked about how growing up and as a magician for him, you would get the teasing maybe, you know, during adolescence, right?
Yeah.
But at the castle, this was their home.
It's like a safe place for
Right.
everybody.
It's where
Yeah.
people go in to see you, to see the performance,
Yeah.
not to go there and make fun of you.
Right.
You know? And so for that, you know, I vowed to make sure that the art was respected.
Yep.
I have a saying that says, I've cut people for less. Right.
Yeah.
And so this brought meaning
Yeah.
to why I would need to be mean. Right. Or to be aggressive in any way.
Right.
And so with that said, we created the welcome home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I saw members coming, it was welcome to your home.
Yeah.
And so it was great. I mean, I was worried a little bit about how people would receive that. And it's like you're home away from home, right?
Right. Yeah.
And later on throughout the years, learning more and more about the art and the magicians and just the culture of it,
Yeah.
I was really able to embrace that and give it back, right?
Yeah.
It says that you can only keep what you have by giving it away.
Right.
Right. And so I shared that with everybody. And I found this like overwhelming. Like I sit back and with gratitude all the time, man. I think about like what I could have been and what the castle gave me. Gave me great years there in California. And still was able to launch my move to Tennessee.
Right.
Right.
That's incredible, man. You know, being a guy who the castle has always been home for so many of us, you know, for magicians, most of us got to get on a plane to pick up a paycheck, you know, and so there was always this idea that, oh yeah, the castle's like our home club, it's our home spot. But when that started happening where like you would get greeted with welcome home, like I remember being like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It kind of
But
puts
it's
you
true.
in the mindset that you need to be in, because you don't want to walk into a place like that and be carrying all this nonsense that you may have been dealing with or thinking about. It really kind of helps put you in the right framework to go in and be like, okay, let's not forget what a great place this is and what it is for the guests that are coming in.
And I mean, that's one of the things that I learned too. Like, I'll tell you a quick story. There was a magician that came from Spain, and I wish I could remember his name. But I remember him showing up. I remember him talking to me, and he felt comfortable because he could speak Spanish. Yeah. And he was telling me how glorious this was to him. Like, he said that when he walked over to the door, he said, he made it. Mm-hmm. Right. And this is from Spain. Yeah. Like, the guy hadn't even been in America. Right. And he shows up and he's like, man, I made it. Yeah. And it's those little things to me. Yeah. That made me appreciate the art. Yeah. Appreciate the castle. Yep. But just to see what he was talking about. Yeah. Later on that week, he was standing at the bottom of the stairs and he was looking over at the professor's table, and he was just staring. Like, he had his mouth dropped a little bit, but I was more concerned, like, is this a health issue? Right? Yeah, right. So, you okay, man? Yeah. And he said, yeah. And I just took a breath in like that. And when he said that, I was like, yo, like, what's going on? He says, do you know who's over there? And I said, yeah, I know who's over there. I'm going, come on, we'll introduce you. Yeah. And he's like, no, I can't go. Yeah. And I said, yeah, you can. And I took him over there, and he met up with his idols, people that he had read books about, and they're all sitting at one table. And to just bring that into perspective, if you were a football fan, right, and your top 4 quarterbacks or football players that you've always idolized, right, are all sitting at one table. Yeah. I said, man, okay, I get it now. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he was so overwhelmed that he had made it in life. That Sunday, which is his last day, he proposed to his girlfriend. And he said, I made it all. This is it. Yeah. Like, he got to meet his idols. He got to perform in a place. And I said, listen, that place gave magic a home. Yeah. I feel like I was a part of that place. Mm-hmm. So wherever I go, yeah, I want every magician in the world to know that you're at home with me. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, it doesn't even matter where I'm at. You're at home. Yeah, buddy. That's what I want to do from here forward, you know? Yeah. My wife, my kids, they all said the same thing. They're like, man, you know everybody. I said, I don't know everybody, but I try to do it, right? To me, gratitude is an action word. Mm. And I show my gratitude when I care and I share with others, right? Yeah. And so me being able to share my experiences with people, everybody who knows me knows I'm an open book. Yeah. So being able to do that to me is a blessing. Right. Right. And so I care and I share with others, and then they do that in return. Yeah. You know, there's nothing better in the world than that. It's beautiful, man. Like, and that's the thing too with this community. You know, there's a lot of different family type vibes in different aspects of life, you know, but with magicians, I think you nailed it, man. Like, so many of us grew up where we found this thing because we didn't fit into any of the other categories. You know what I mean? Like, nobody is like an amazing athlete who also does magic. Right. You know what I'm saying? Well, there's that football player. What's his name? The guy that was on America's Got Talent. Yeah, well, with the exception of that. You know. He was on the Eagles. Yeah. No, I'm joking. Sounds like he found a new love. Right? Yeah, man. It's like, it's amazing, though, that, like you were saying, you know, if you were a guitar player or a musician, it's not like, hey, I think I want to try to meet Bono, like from U2, or I want to try to meet, you know, John Mayer. You're not going to do that. Now, you could probably run into those guys at the castle, but I'm saying, like, as a magician, you could go, oh, I can literally go to this place, and there's a good chance that on any given night, I'm going to see a lot of people that have helped shape this art. And what's crazy is when you approach them, they're just as excited to talk about it with you as you are to talk about it with them. That's perfect the way you said that. I spent a lot of time talking to a gentleman by the name of Howard Hamburg. Yeah. I mean, everybody knows him. Yeah. And it's funny because I had a different relationship with him in the first couple of years, and I didn't realize like what a powerhouse he really was for magic, right? Yeah. And so there was a magician, amateur, starting off. He was you know, he found, he caught the bug, right?
Yeah.
And so he was over there, and Howard was like, yeah, go ahead, show me something.
Yeah.
Show me something. And the guy was like, oh my God. And so just to sit there and think and like try to relate this to any everyday thing, it's like you got a powerhouse that's willing to actually speak, teach, learn.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like talk to you, share the art.
Yeah.
That to me is like, it's powerful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To think about like they can do that. And that's the thing about the magic community is it's uplifting everybody, right?
Right.
So I found another home.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny you said that we didn't fit in my fellowship. They talk about being a square peg in a round hole, right?
Yeah.
Because we didn't fit in anywhere else.
Right.
And so I fit in there.
Yeah.
And when I got to the magic world, I feel like I fit in here too.
Yeah.
And so it makes me feel at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I am forever grateful for magic.
Yeah.
And the predecessors that put it in play.
Right. Right. I think about that all the time. You know, I'll be at the castle and I'll see Milt and I'll go, that's the guy who, like that cat right there dreamed up this with his brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and the princess, like they, the three of them, like they just had an idea and now look at what this idea has turned into for all of us.
And then I went to the last Magic Live and they talked about who you're thankful for. And,
yeah.
I put on the Larson family.
Right.
Because they gave magic a home.
Yeah.
You know, they were contributors. They're champions for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? They want to push the art. Like we don't want to share the art.
Yeah.
And God, I can't say enough good things about it. The princess, rest her soul. I love her to death.
Yeah.
Erica has always been good to me.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, I owe them whatever success comes my way.
Yeah.
I honestly do.
Yeah, man. Wait, how did your family? I always ask people, you know, like if you're a musician and you tell your parents, I'm going to be a musician for a living, you know, there's always this little thing of like people who are outside of that community trying to understand what it's all about. Have you run into any of that with family or friends who are just like, wait, what? You like magic tricks? You go to magic
I get
show?
that often. I mean, every time I tell them, they're like, well, what kind of business are you in? And I tell them magic. They're like magicians? I said, yeah, like magicians.
And they're like, you're a magician? And you're like,
nope. You know, we have a saying that says we make people disappear. You know, and that's what I do. But I hope I make them reappear too. You know? I hope that I can bring people.
Right.
My parents asked, you know, they're like, how'd you go from there to, from
It's
working retail, corporate
Yep.
to magic?
Yeah.
And, you know what? Sometimes you just got to get out of yourself's way, you know?
Right.
And just allow the cards to play. And I don't know if this is a part of if this was meant to be my journey, but it's a part of my journey now.
Yeah.
And so every day, I'm like, yeah, that's what I do. I know magicians.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
That's the thing is I want to further the art. I want to push it out there and bring good quality magic too, you know?
Yeah. See, that's the thing about you that really resonates with me is that, it's very rare for someone who's not performing to care so much about not only the quality of the performance, but the experience for the performers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's because most people just don't get it. It's such a weird thing, or not weird, but it's such a unusual world.
Yeah. That's definitely true. It's relatable. Like, I mean, you see certain magicians that, a state of themselves.
Yeah.
Then you see the cliques.
Right.
And you see almost like the proteges. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had a guy one time tell me it was a dude shuffling, and in his shuffle, I guess the way he did it, he identified it. He said, that's an East Coast shuffle.
Sure.
And I said, what? Where'd you get that from? And he says, that's a Marlowe style.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And so, you know, I try to learn little by little. And so for me, I find that if I can identify stuff like that and find out like who, it's really cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for me, I'm like, man, what do you do?
Yeah.
Are you a card guy, cardistry? What do you do, stage? And so I just embrace it and I learn as much as I can, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way I see it.
So, I mean, we talked about like how you and the family had planned to be out here in Tennessee.
Yep.
And then I'd love to hear, what was it like when you decided, when this opportunity came up with the castle originally, and the family, you're like, okay, we're not moving. Was that right away everybody was on board, or was it a little bit like, but
I think half my family was, I know that my immediate family, which is like my wife and kids.
Yeah.
My kids were more grateful. They were like, okay, good. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah, staying in school.
Change is scary.
Yeah.
It's very, very,
right.
fear it all the time. But there was a sense of calming me staying.
Right.
So by me staying in California,
yeah,
it made them feel better.
Yeah.
And it just prolonged. I mean, it was getting me ready to move.
Right.
And we didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
At the time, we're just like, okay, I found a job. I loved it.
Yeah.
They tell you that if you love what you do, you won't ever work a day in your life.
Right.
Right. And so I haven't worked in years.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for that. But, if you look at it, the whole journey, man, like I was meant to be here.
Yeah.
And who I work for now.
Yeah.
Like, God, I'm grateful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It made this scary move a lot easier to do. And I still get to further the art of magic.
Right.
I still get to see the faces of people when they experience live magic for the first time.
Mm.
And they're like, what in the world? Like, we were just having a conversation about this, of how I believe that magic is a gift.
Yeah.
Right. And the easiest way to explain it for me is this is a gift that's universal, right? It's got no language barriers.
Right.
Right. You can fan out a deck of cards.
Right.
And it's universal. You're going to pick one and it's going to magically appear
find
somewhere.
It all over the planet.
Right.
Like every culture, every, country, like every single where on this planet, there are people doing magic.
It is amazing. Right.
Yeah.
And then I talk about like the financial barriers, right? If you're broke,
yep,
or if you're rich. I remember seeing a video of a homeless guy down in Florida making cigarettes disappear through shirts.
Yep.
And people were amazed. I mean, he did it for a living,
right? But
still they were so amazed. I mean, they were flipping out over what he could do with that effect.
Right.
So it has no financial barriers. You can be broke or you can be rich and still be able to give that gift to somebody.
Yeah.
But you could be broke and rich and receive it as well.
Yeah.
Right. And then I talked about the ability to time travel. And not real time travel, right? But it's an emotional time travel.
Right.
It makes you feel not necessarily young again, but like logic takes a back seat.
Yeah.
Right. Because you start to think, if you're thinking logically, there's no way that card's going to appear in somebody's wallet or in a lemon or like that's not logical. So it gives you that feeling when you were young again.
Yeah.
And you're able to be like, oh, what's next?
Yeah.
What's next? And you anticipate it. I think the most profound comment that was made to me was there was a lady that was here and she was really, really grateful. She had stage 4 cancer. And she came here for the night.
Yeah.
Here in Nashville. And she was like, thank you. And I said, you're welcome. I'm just thinking it's, thank you. You had a great night. You had a great time. Great. Right. That's awesome. I hope you come back and have another time.
Yeah.
And she said, you made me forget that I was dying. And I said, oh, you know what I mean? That hits you real hard.
Yeah.
But it's so awesome to know that you have that gift to be able to give to people.
Yeah.
Right? That you can take their worries away.
Yeah.
Even if it's for us for a little bit.
Right.
You know what I mean? You take their worries away.
The thing, and I mentioned this on the show a lot too, is that as adults, we don't get Santa Claus moments.
No.
You know what I mean? Like there's very few, which is why this place that we're in right now is amazing, and the castle is amazing because it's a location that's dedicated to wonder and to go, it's okay. We don't have to all the answers. Yeah, look, I know that out there you got a mess going on and it'll still be going on tomorrow. But for this moment, let's just explore.
I mean, and even then, like, we're in a basement.
Yeah.
In downtown Nashville.
Right.
It's already cool. You know what I mean? Just to think that you're secretly down here.
Right.
But that's one of the things about me coming out here, man. Like, I talk to other magic venues.
Yeah.
And, I've been blessed to know a lot of them. Right. And so I talked to him and I'm like, what can we do, man? Like to further the art, right?
Yeah.
There was a magician that was performing on stage and she had thanked the crowd.
Yeah.
And after her performance, not just for seeing her, but for supporting places like this, where we can still continue the lost art. You know what I mean? Like, we don't ever want to lose this. Nobody does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so by them coming to venues like this, they're able to support it and keep it going.
Right.
And when I see those small venues that, you know, might host magic here one night a week, and it's the same performer, I'm not knocking that in any way.
Right.
What I'm saying is that we can do better, right? By bringing in new performers every time or every week, you get people that are going to be drawn. It gives a fan base. It gives a business more return guests.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so for me, if I can do that out here, share what I've learned, and just share it, you know, with people will participate.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to buy into this.
Right.
And I love it. I love that fact, you know? I mean, why not?
Yeah. I had a lady last night walk out of the show and she said the whole experience, walking in here, the meal we had, the close-up we saw, and then the show that they came to, she said it so exceeded anything I could have imagined. Like she just like, I had no idea that there was even an experience like this.
Yeah.
And I just had it. Like, how cool is that?
Yeah. Yeah. That's my pleasure. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we live for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those are the moments when you see the guests leave and they're just like, that was the most amazing time I've ever had. Right. And they had no idea.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and
it's very hard to describe venues like this.
It is.
When you look and you tell somebody, hey, you're going to do this, you're going to go have dinner, and then you're going to go to this corner, you're going to see a magician perform.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get a ticket to a show, and you're going to go into the show in the theater, and you're going to see some magic.
Yeah.
And people are like, yeah, that sounds cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until they walk in and the love that they put in to put this place together.
Oh, yeah.
The quality of things that we have.
It's amazing.
I mean, the vintage.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like, God.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Well, the other thing that I've been doing all weekend shows, and it's honestly my favorite part, and I can't do it anywhere else, you know, but I point out to people where they're at and what they're looking at.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, you know, I told you a story a moment ago about Houdini.
Yeah.
Well, his Kingbreaker handcuffs that he designed and used are right out here.
Right there.
Right there. This is the card of the Great Showroom. This is not a reprint of a picture. That is an original 8-sheet Carter.
Nothing but the best.
And I told him my favorite, that table.
Yeah.
This was Carter the Great's table.
He performed on
that table.
And now you are.
Yeah. and I mentioned to him, I was saying, you know, there's very few people that would seek out and pay the money it would take to get a table like that.
Yeah.
And there are even fewer who would not put it behind glass, but say, let's use it for what it was meant to be used for.
You know, I questioned him on that. I said, you want them to use it?
Yeah.
And he said, well, what's the point of having it if they're not going to use it?
Yeah.
He's like, let's do this. I mean, he's such a supporter in the art. I mean, I want the world to meet him. You know, I mean, one day. I want the world to know that I'm just going to say it, that the Miller family has given magic another home.
Yeah.
You know, you see so many places open and close. And
right.
When I walked down here for the very first time, I could see this is the place.
Right.
Most of you guys know I believe in a power greater than myself. Choose to call God.
Yeah. We'll
keep it simple.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't believe in God, that's okay. Just believe that it stands for good, orderly direction. Right. But sometimes you get these signs, and we're so comfortable in what we're doing.
Right.
We just ignore the signs. Like we're like, oh, that sounds great, man. You should do that. Not me.
Someone else. Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm right where I'm at.
Yeah.
And when this sign came to me, I said, I'm going to give it a shot.
Yeah.
You know, so I flew out here one day.
Yeah.
Got landed in Nashville at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and I flew out the next day at 5.
Yeah.
When I left there, I said, man, I can see myself. I can see myself here. This is a place that they obviously care about
Right.
magic. I mean, just the fact.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, there's plenty of places that are a magic themed
Yeah.
restaurant, and that's not what this is.
No, this is a place where you're going to come and experience things that you've never experienced before.
Yeah,
And that's the beautiful thing about it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, so I said, you know what? I'm going to do this.
yeah,
I'm going to do this. And he supported me. And like, you know, when you get opportunities like this, you want to pay it back. And the best way that I find is just to be myself every day, you know?
right.
Most of you know me. I'm loyal.
Yeah,
And so I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah,
God willing.
Right.
I ain't going nowhere.
right.
Yeah, man, I've committed it.
Man, I'm so encouraged, Joey, by not just who you are, but your willingness to, you know, leave something that's great for the chance that maybe you could bring that somewhere else too. You know what I mean? Like you talked earlier about like fear, people being afraid to like make moves or changes and this afraid of change. And I had a friend tell me one time, he said, people don't fear change. You know, if I gave you $1 million today, it would change your life, but you wouldn't be afraid of that change.
That's true.
People fear loss. And so the idea is like, well, what if I leave this and I miss out on this community, rather than what if I go to a new place and I can bring everything I learned and experienced and some of the people with me, and we keep this thing going. And
That's a great way to see it.
yeah,
I mean, I've not lost contact, as you know. I mean,
oh yeah,
I talk to magicians every day.
yeah,
And I got a great relationship with the Larson family. Erica calls and checks on me,
yeah,
make sure I'm okay out here. You know, it's, you know, it gets lonely sometimes.
right,
You know what I mean? I'm used to being in a building with 100 magicians every night,
right,
to 6.
right,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it does get lonely, and there is some stuff that goes on in the magic community where I want to reach out to some people, and I'm building that community here.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Where I'm showing that we're all in this together, kind of
yeah,
thing. And so, yeah, you're right. I mean, as far as fear, it's a lot easier
yeah,
knowing that I'm going to be doing the same thing and further the art. But
right,
I mean, you're right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. Like if it was scary, but it ain't no more.
yeah. And we need to stick together in this thing. You know what I mean? I will ask you this. You know, the show is called About to Break, and I named it that because it seems like in this business, you're either like this close to a huge breakthrough or this close to a mental breakdown. And sometimes those happen simultaneously, you know? Yeah. And you have been so much a part of this community and part of this family without being a performer. So you kind of have a different set of eyes than sometimes we do on our life and on the things that we're going through. Is there anything you would say to encourage guys who are maybe, you know, they're struggling, feeling like, oh, I might just give up doing this, or my art is, you know, not where I want it to be? Anything you would say? Because I know that this is something that you do every day, is encourage people when you see them. But what would you say to someone who is maybe listening to this and feels like they're about to have a breakdown?
It's a good question. I guess I would just share what I've seen, right? I've seen magicians share with each other. I've seen them learn from each other. And if you're about to like say that's it, you've given up on yourself, right? I think the more and more that we communicate with each other, magicians, you're further out from the pack, right? Like there's a saying that says there's like a pack of antelope. I don't know. Do you call them packs?
I don't know.
But if they're going through the safari, those that drop off are the ones that are on the outside, right? That are not in the middle, that are not involved, that are not sharing with each other, that are not fellowshipping.
Yeah.
Right. And they seem to fall off. If you're on the outside,
right,
get in, talk to another magician.
Yeah.
Go and hang out so that you can stay in that pack.
Yeah.
Right. You'll see that. And so if you got that feeling that you're about to break and that you're about to break down, that you've given up on an art form that you cared about, maybe you're just not as involved. You know,
Dude, that's
I
so
remain
good.
learning. I remain teachable every day, and I want to learn more and more about everything I come in contact with.
Yeah.
But in this art, there's so many predecessors that are still around right now. I know we're losing them, but they're still around. Take the time to share with them.
Yeah.
Take the time to share with your experience, because I came to a point in my life where I got tired of learning from my own mistakes. Right? I did that my whole life. My dad says, don't gangbang. They're going to turn on you.
Yeah.
It happened.
Yeah.
Don't do this because this is going to happen. They tried to guide me in the right direction.
Right.
And my response was always, let me make my own mistakes. It might be different than yours.
Right.
But when you look at the predecessors that are here, they can tell you,
Yeah.
look, in this situation, if you go to perform here, or if you're going to do this effect,
Yeah.
this is the outcome.
Right.
Take that into consideration. Like, don't learn from your own mistakes anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? Learn from our predecessors.
Yeah.
They're still around.
What's that old saying? Like a foolish man learns from his mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
Like,
that's so true.
yeah.
So true. I mean, I feel that.
That's so good, man. I like 3 years ago, I realized I am outside of community with magicians. I grew up at the castle. I'd be there all the time. Then we had kids. Then we got busy. Then, life got crazy.
Yeah.
And I was still performing. Like, I'm performing full time, and realized I'm never around the community. And that's part of why this started. That's part of why I just started doing shows for no money, just to show up and be around other magicians,
Well, I got to see, so everybody knows Live or Magic Live.
Right.
And Genie Convention are the
Yep.
biggest ones.
Right.
But I got to go this year. I got sent by my boss to one called Winter Carnival,
Yeah.
and in the mountains of Pigeon Forge.
Yeah.
Beautiful area, by the way.
Oh, it's gorgeous. over
Beautiful. And I got to meet new magicians.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like I've known everybody, and I'm like, wait, there's more of us? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, what? And the community they had.
there. Yeah.
And what I can tell people, like magicians, that I would like to share with them is go out to the little conventions. Go out and support that. Like, support those who have looked up to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Who see you on television or on YouTube or, wherever they're at.
Yeah.
Go out there and support these small conventions. Not saying don't support the big ones, because I like going and meeting,
Right.
seeing everybody at the same time,
Right.
but go out and do that, man. And sometimes you see, I saw these little ones. I saw this, younger performers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang, that's what it was like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they got the bug young.
Yeah.
Like, I never thought about doing magic myself.
Yeah.
Until one day I was messing around with the deck of cards, and I was doing a one-handed shuffle, right?
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
split, trying to.
Yeah.
Cards are all over the floor in the lobby. And
Oh, of
I'm like,
course.
I'm picking
Yeah.
them all up. And a magician after magician would see me, and they're like, hey, you want to learn something?
Yeah.
And I was like, no. I'm just trying to one hand cut this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I said, you know what? This might be a sign, right? Like,
Yeah.
I look back and I'm like, I have the world's greatest magicians coming in here
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
And why not learn something? And a gentleman by the name of Mike Pashada, he said, Joe, I would love to teach you.
Wow.
And I said, man, one of the greats
Yeah.
actually volunteering and saying, hey, I'll teach you. And man, he took the time to get me a brick
Yeah.
and a book.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, read this.
Yeah.
When you're done with this, come back and see me.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
And he came back the next week and he said, hey, how far along are you?
Yeah. How's it going? Yeah.
And my first reaction, I'm lying, right?
Yeah.
I'm like,
You're like,
oh man,
Yeah.
I've been reading it up, and he's like, what part are you on? I'm like, oh man, I started doing the shuffling, and he knew bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And,
Call you on it?
yeah, of course. And he's like, let me know when you start reading it. And I said, okay, I will.
Yeah.
And little by little, I had to give the art the respect that it demanded. And I honestly didn't have the time. You know what I mean? I found an excuse and my heart wasn't in it.
Yeah.
And so when I see a magician that's up on stage performing,
Yeah.
I realize that 10 minutes, that's 7 minutes,
Yeah.
took 20 years, 15 years to build this art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
to me, I felt like I was disrespecting the art by just goofing around.
Right.
And I chose not to. I gave him the respect, and I told Mike, man, I'm sorry. I love you, man. Thank you. I'm grateful.
Yeah.
I can't do this.
Yeah.
I'm like, he deserves all the respect. You know what I mean? And so I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't do this. Like I felt like it demanded more from me than I could give, you know? So further in the art is the best thing I could do. You know what I mean? I'm grateful.
Yeah. Well, you're doing it, man. And there's a countless number of us who are grateful for you.
Yeah.
And the part that you play in this family. So.
And I hope so. I mean, I hope I don't piss anybody off, you know? In this business, it's hard juggling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know the Godfather, Goldfinger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The good thing is that when I call, he answers the phone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm grateful for that.
So good.
Jack, what do I do?
Yeah.
And Jack's like, well, you know? And so as long as I can hear him laugh, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy. And the guidance that I received, I'm grateful for.
Right.
Man, I'm truly blessed and highly favored. You know what I mean?
Buddy.
Any chance I can get to give it back, I do.
Yeah.
At least I try.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it, man. The Miller family out here has supported that, has given me the tools that I need to support it.
Yeah.
And I mean fancy tools. You know what I mean? Like, they're
Yeah.
I mean, I invite the world to come down.
Yeah.
Check it out. You're gonna love it.
Come see it. Come experience it.
You're going to love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had many members that come down here and they're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
this is like 2.0. This is all new. It's all shiny. It's, you know what I mean?
It's a great mix of like you said, like really classic, amazing vintage pieces with top of the line modern.
Yeah. People would pay to go in to see this. You know what I mean? Like they're going to see these museum pieces. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's there. I remember telling, Bill, do you have originals on these walls?
I know. I'm like, nobody knows the difference.
I'm kind of happy about that because I was like, why do you have originals?
Right.
And his response was priceless. He said, Joey, you're not in California anymore. You know what I mean? And I was like, whoa, okay. And, you know, I catch myself. Sometimes people stare a little too long at the cards on the wall. And I'm like, can I help you with something? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing,
it's
man?
It's a big purse,
like,
lady.
Yeah, it's bolted on there, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Go ahead and look at it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But don't stare too long. You know? But it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It truly is. I got a beautiful life, man. I believe I have a life that I don't deserve. You know what I mean? I feel that I'm grateful for it. You know, I used to have a saying that I used to say that I'm overpaid, right? Not financially. I mean, obviously you can't have that, but overpaid in blessings, you know. And the move out here, God, my kids, they're loving it. I miss my kids at home, you know.
Yeah.
But I feel like they call whenever they need dad.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They come out often.
Yeah.
They come out visit my parents, you know what I mean? They're far away.
Yeah.
My sister, man, me and her, we're like, you know, we're the tightest. And,
you
know, I miss her, but I get to talk to her almost every day. So it's not that bad. You know what I mean? Technology's out there. You can video call people. I love video calling.
Oh, yeah. It makes all the difference.
But my kids here are successful.
Yeah.
I mean, they're loving life. I'm loving life.
That's so cool.
You know what I mean? It's green.
Yeah, I know,
it's
right?
real green.
Wow, trees. These are not cell phone towers.
No, not at all. I heard a helicopter the other day. And I said, wait a minute, I know that sound. And I walked out and I'm like, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
It's been so long, you know?
Yeah.
But I love my move here, you know?
That's awesome, man.
I really do. And thank you.
Yeah, well, friends, come out. Come visit. Come be a part. Come see what's going on.
Yeah, help further the art.
Yes, keep pushing it forward.
And not just us, but any place that you see magic being performed, please go out and support it.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Yes.
You know, I mean, the broader the base, the higher the point, right?
That's right.
And so the more of us that there is out here, we're going to elevate magic to a whole nother level. It's the greatest time in history to be a magician.
It is.
I mean,
it really is.
Well, at least my history, because
yeah.
I'm old, but I'm new to this this era. You know, I mean, this culture.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, there's like a new renaissance of it going on right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, it doesn't even matter if it's not a magic themed show, TV show. There's magic that's in that show.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see commercials.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They're like, oh, try this. And then they show magic.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm like, who worked on that? I might know somebody.
You might know the
there.
guy
You know
who
what I mean?
consulted on it, yeah.
I mean, I know somebody, you know? And so for me, it's awesome.
That's awesome, man.
Magic is in every day.
It is. In fact, we are going to go help people chase some wonder right now.
That's true.
So we're going to go do that, friends. If you're in Nashville, and even if you're not in Nashville, make plans to come out and visit Joey here at House of Cards.
Yeah, House of Cards Nashville. Come on down.
Awesome, buddy. I'm going to turn this off. We can keep talking.
Thanks.